Coming up next, we have Bill LeBlanc, who is the resident MC, so I am not nervous at all about getting him up on stage. So, Bill, would you just get up here and tell us all about if people got EVs, because most people don't.
All right, get going. Anybody know what this 1% represents? EV market share, nicely done. Not the general wealth of this group, so that's good. So we're at 1%, which means by definition, we are at the very beginning of the curve of diffusion of innovation. We can't help this. This is the way all markets start. But we have to really focus where we should, which is on early adopters and not on the majority problems, because the problems aren't going to be solved for them yet. So what I'm going to explain is that that first 15%, the early adopter group, is where we need to put all of our effort right now. And that's not that hard to do. We've done it many times before in many different technology situations. The biggest difference between late adopters and early adopters is their tolerance for risk. This is me taking a picture of someone taking too much risk. All right? So we have to work within the risk profile. So early adopters have to have both motivation and the ability. The ability means maybe they buy new cars because that's how we get new EVs. They are seeking things like prestige and environmental benefits, and that's what motivates them. So the EV market is not mature, and that's okay. I want everybody to say this together. The EV market is not mature, and that's okay. Wow, that was better than I thought it was going to be. So that was excellent. So we have to work within that framework. So are people going to be left behind? Well, not really. I'll explain that a little bit later. But we don't want people to have bad experiences. So don't put things in people's hands that can't handle them, like a smartphone, like my mother with the smartphone. So there are 5 factors I'm going to go through that really are necessary elements before we hit the majority. So these are the things we're going to be working on for the next 3 to 4 years. So the first one is simplicity. Right now, fueling EVs is not simple. And again, that's okay. It's what one would expect. But we're confusing potential drivers by talking incessantly about a charging network they don't understand. What about making it simple? Charge at home. Did you know what percentage of people don't know that you can plug an EV into that plug? Tell me, anybody, 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 anybody. Bueller, yes, nicely done. 70%. That means we're not doing our job as EV marketers. And ultimately, this is a study that just came out of UC Davis that says that more public chargers do not drive people to want EVs more often. This is a big finding. It means our spending is probably going into the wrong places. Second factor is, can I try it easily? I can easily, buy a new chocolate bar, but it's hard to really experience an EV through the entire fueling process. So maybe instead of a ride and drive, we need a week to borrow a car. Compatibility with lifestyle, I think, is very optimistic. We have a lot of new models coming out, SUVs, trucks, that I think will make factor number 3 not such a big issue for us, but it has been in the past. The fourth is the observability. Can I see it around? If I see a microbrew, I know that there's microbrews around, I'm going to buy one. There's an electric car, and there's a gas car on there, and you couldn't tell the difference. But in July, we get this license plate in Colorado, so this is going to be very exciting here. Thank you. The fifth and most important is relative advantage. And we have to understand that an EV doesn't have massive advantage like some other technologies over its predecessor. People are just okay having a gas car. So again, we have to go to those secondary benefits that early adopters will be looking at, such as prestige, Tesla, yes, environment. And ultimately, as we move to majority adopters, then they start to go into be value buyers. They need lower cost cars. They think about the savings that they're going to get for gasoline. But you still have to overcome their key barriers, which are going to still be simplifying the fueling process. Work that I did at eSource with the state of Colorado identified 21% of the people in Colorado are what we call in the driver's seat and are going to be early adopters. And all groups are represented, low income, ethnic groups, et cetera. Down the road, we're going to have people that just don't want EVs, and spending time with them is a waste of time right now. We've got to get to that first group. So let's stop banging our head against the wall. Let's focus on the first 15% and be successful, because after that, the market is just going to absolutely take off. So thank you very much. Thanks for coming tonight. And in anticipation of a rush, if someone can get me an IPA, just because I've been waiting. So.